Hi, everyone. I'm Derek Rugsakin, and you are listening to the Southeast by Southwest podcast, a podcast exploring Asian food, New Mexico, and the relationship and stories they share. So today is the second episode in the South Asian series that I've been doing. And today I am going to be talking about a food truck that I have been very excited to share with all of you for some time. I should add briefly that this interview was recorded back in March, and due to various personal and professional delays, I'm just now getting it out. But I'm really excited to share this particular place with you. Tikka Spice is a Pakistani Indian fusion food truck based out of Albuquerque. And the food that they are doing there is just really exciting. And I hope that by the end of this podcast, you will be sufficiently intrigued to go out and seek them out for yourself, because not only are they doing really exciting Pakistani Indian fusion type food, but they're just doing really exciting food in general, and their menu continues to evolve and change in really exciting ways. Now, I will admit that when I first started exploring South Asian food, and through the interviews I've done for this podcast, I've learned quite a bit about the variety and the diversity that exists within the Indian South Asian subcontinent. And Chef Basit actually really helped me understand a lot better how the food, the spices, and the flavors vary from region to region. As you'll hear, he compares it to Southern American barbecue, and how from region to region, spice to spice, technique to technique, the food varies and evolves and changes as you move throughout the landscape. Well, in a similar way, so it is with South Asian cuisine. Another thing that I think that I should introduce before we hear from the chef is the history of Pakistan, which is the country where Chef and his wife hail from. I think it deserves to be noted that the official country of Pakistan did not exist before August 14th, 1947, which is when the country became an independent nation in the form of the Dominion of Pakistan, which was at the time within the British Commonwealth. Now, I'm sure that this may be controversial to some, but the way I've heard the story told is that British rule basically exploited Hindu-Muslim tensions that were low-lying in the region at the time as a sort of divide-and-conquer technique. Well, as part of this, they also came up with the Pakistan movement and the partition of India, which essentially encouraged locals to vote for separate states, one Hindu and one Muslim. Unfortunately, the way in which this state was created was not the most sensitive, and the line that delineated the border between the two was essentially arbitrarily drawn. It's as though someone just took a pencil on a map and drew a line, not paying any attention to what was the actual living realities on the ground, on the map that they were drawing. Now, this line ended up separating villages, roads, farms, families. The line just cut callously straight through, these long-standing communities that were very much interconnected, very much a part of one another. Because prior to that, it had all been essentially an extension of India with different cultural and religious variations therein. Now, I tell you all of this so you have a better understanding of what it means when we say Indian food or Pakistani food or South Indian food or Southeast Indian food or any of these things. Because ultimately, prior to 70-ish years ago, they really shared so very much in terms of customs, in terms of flavors, spices, techniques, and traditions. All of these things were extremely shared, and to this day, they still exist shoulder to shoulder with one another, and they continue to share these things. So many of the things that we might understand to be Indian, for example, biryani, actually originated in the side which is now Pakistan, and vice versa. so much sharing and so much tradition between them. And so ultimately, when we're talking about Pakistani food, we're also talking about Indian food and vice versa, because it's a permeable border that separates the two, where so much is shared. Much like the food of Mexico and America's southern border, where we start to see things like Tex-Mex or Southwestern cuisine, or, our beloved green chili, or blue corn, in the way that it's influenced American cuisine, which can't be underestimated. And so, knowing that, bear that in mind as you listen to the following interview. But before we do that, I just wanted to share a brief clip from the news that tells you a little bit about Chef Basit and the way that he and his wife and his family operate this truck. Because one thing that's true about them, one thing that really stood out to me, is the amount of love and the amount of heart that they bring to what they do. I mean, I really don't think it can be understated. What they do is 110% a labor of love. They do it with a heart and an emphasis on the community, on locality, on the interconnectedness of the businesses in their local area. And they're really, really trying to bring the best of what they have from their own culture and tradition into conversation with the best of what the city of Albuquerque has and the surrounding communities and farms. And so I hope you'll pick that up in the interview that follows. And without any further ado, I introduce to you Chef Basit of Tikka Spice in Albuquerque.
A nice gesture led to an idea. A local food truck that's been through tough times during the pandemic saw an act of kindness and decided to give back to the community that has supported it.
Last week, toward the end of their shift, serving Pakistani Indian fusion with a Southwestern flair, something special happened.
One of our customers came up and they bought a cookie and didn't take it and said, give this to the next customer. So it just went on to about 4 customers, and we ended up closing because we were done for the night. And me and my wife, we started thinking, wow, this is pretty amazing.
The food truck business, like most restaurants, has had many ups and downs during the pandemic.
We were not sure if we were going to stay in business or not. We started on an online platform that we didn't have before COVID, and it was just a new learning curve for us too.
But Tikka Spice has been able to stay open thanks to the community they serve.
We've been thinking of ways to give back to the community because we're so humbled and grateful for all the support we've been getting this last year.
A random act of kindness from a customer gave them a sweet idea. All you have to do is buy a cookie for yourself and tell them you'd like to pay it forward.
And we will also donate a cookie and a meal to those underserved in our community.
In just 3 days, almost 40 people bought cookies to pay it forward.
We don't want any money to provide the meal to anybody. We're going to do that ourselves.
And they'll keep doing it all through the end of March. Joy Wang, KOB4.
So, of course, I'd like to, kind of go back to the beginning of the story, maybe for you personally, but then with Tikka Spice. So, do you mind just kind of talking about your own background and like where and how you grew up and then how it kind of led to this moment?
Okay. So I was born in Pakistan, in Karachi.
Uh-huh.
And spent about the first few years of my life there, and then we moved over here to the U.S. We came to Albuquerque first for about 6 months, and then moved to California, and that's where I grew up. When I was in about 8th, 9th grade, we moved back to Albuquerque. We have a majority of our family is here, so we moved here, just to be closer to the family.
Mm-hmm.
And went to high school at La Gauba.
Mm-hmm.
And during high school, I was working cashier job, at Whataburger.
Nice.
And just moved up in the company. Eventually, I did things for marketing, for HR stuff. During that time, I also worked at Flying Star for a short amount of time. Also, and most recently, I was working at Panda Express. I was also a manager there.
Uh-huh.
And so it's come from a lot of restaurant experience. about almost 15 years worth of experience.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so we just decided to start a food truck. I was watching the movie Chef when it first came out a few years ago.
Nice.
And that kind of inspired me to do it. And, talking with my cousin and he kind of pushed me to do it. Got with my wife and, we were just trying to come up with ideas on what to do and what kind of concept to do. And, we weren't really sure we were going to do Tikka Spice per se. We weren't really even sure about the name of the business. But back in 2019, sorry. So at the beginning of 2019, like January, I saw that there was some guy in Santa Fe selling his trailer, his food trailer. And so I went up there with one of my friends and we checked it out. And he had it designed for more of like a kind of like a state fair setup or more of just for a major event, not for a regular youth food truck. So we had to make a lot of changes to it, buy more equipment, different kinds of equipment. So it took me a couple months to get that going. At the same time, I was working my full-time job with Panda, doing about 50 hours a week while on my days off, fixing up the food truck.
Mm-hmm.
And, we launched in April. April 8th was our launch day. Mm-hmm. And that just so happens to be my oldest son's birthday, too. So,
oh, really?
It was kind of a cousin day. And, well, we basically, came up with the idea of Tikka Spice. We came up with Tikka, our menu, like a chicken tikka tacos, samosas. We had 2 different kinds of samosas. And then we had beef tacos on our original menu. And that was pretty much it. There was just more like 5-6 items. We had a couple of drinks. Just went from there and started doing breweries. Our first big brewery that we got into was High and Dry on Lomas and Adams. Mm-hmm. Super nice owners. Andrew and his wife, they're amazing. And they found us and gave us, tried our food and gave us kind of a full-time spot there on a regular basis. Because before we were just doing, once in a while we'd do one spot, just cover somebody. It was never like a full-time schedule, with anybody. And then COVID hit.
Oh, yeah.
I left my full-time job. I left my full-time job and all the security and all the benefits and health insurance and everything.
Whoa.
Left that in December 24th.
Oh, man.
Christmas Eve, 2019. And, March we ended up shutting down for about 6 weeks. March 14th, right in the middle of the month. And we didn't open back up until almost the end of April. And so we would start becoming innovative, just finding new spots, I launched my online ordering at that time. One of the things that we did during our little break for 6 weeks was came up with a whole different menu. We still had some of our original items. We had our vegetable samosa, we had our chicken tikka taco, and everything else on the menu is new. So we started doing curry. We started making curry on site, got new equipment. It actually, the 6 weeks kind of gave me and my wife a lot of time to reset, pause, and reflect on how we can grow the business better and what we can do differently, and think about operations standpoint, how we can market differently, do our social media marketing differently. So we rebranded. We even came up with a new logo. And we started doing curry. We started doing rice bowls. We started doing a whole different variety of tacos instead of just sticking with just 2 different kinds. We launched our shrimp taco, our fish taco. We did our vegetarian tacos. And we support a lot of local vendors. So we like for example, I get my kimchi from Jen.
Oh, yes.
She works out of a commissary over on Central.
Right.
I think you know her, right?
Yeah, she was on the podcast earlier.
My Young Farms.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, so she's amazing. She grows her own vegetables, or tries to at least grow most of it. So she makes like a special blend for me. It's a green chili kimchi, and it's vegan. So that's one of the things I told her. That's what I wanted for my kimchi. And so she makes a special batch for me. I usually pick up from her every month or whenever I need it. Pretty much, I let her know. I get my microgreens from Little Urban G Farms.
Oh yeah.
So we started doing microgreens with our curry bowl. It goes amazing. Looks beautiful. Lisa, she's amazing too. Basically she'll come and deliver it to me. It's awesome.
Nice.
And we got buns. Our buns are fresh baked from Sergio's Bakery. So pretty much a lot of our bread items we get from there.
Oh, okay.
And we actually recently just started working with Crown Baking Company, and they just started about 3-4 weeks ago, I think.
Oh, really?
But they're doing cookies, and I think she's trying out a bunch of different items, croissants and donuts. So right now we get like a special batch of cookies from her, and different flavors, crazy flavors. There's like a Cap'n Crunch cookie, and there's
really?
Salted caramel pretzel cookies, and burnt marshmallow cookies.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But I feel like we built this little community with all the vendors. There's Mighty Mike from Mighty Mike Meats, one of a close friend of mine, and there's Mikey from Burnt Fideo, Chef E from Tender Sky, Rick Dominic from Pop Pops. Yeah, so we just we have this little. I'm sure I'm leaving some people out. I don't know. There's a lot of people we've met throughout this couple of years.
Sure.
It's actually going to be our 2-year anniversary pretty soon.
Oh, really?
In April. Yeah.
Awesome.
We're doing a big event for that.
Oh, very cool. Yeah. Well, that's exciting. So one thing I noticed about you guys, I'm curious a little bit more about what goes into your menu development, because I noticed that you really do bring, the Pakistani flavor, like the spice and everything, but you make it very modern, very now, with the tacos, with the fish sandwiches and such. What goes into your menu development?
So one thing that's different from us and some of the other South Asian restaurants, we actually grind our own spices and roast them ourselves. So a lot of these, even the chains or even a lot of the big restaurants, they usually purchase the spice blends already made.
Oh.
Like our tikka masala, for example, our tikka spice. It's a blend of 9 different spices. Our reshmi beef tacos, or even our bihari beef, which we discontinued the bihari beef. That one had 23 different spices.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah, so we hand roasted each one, and it's like a special process because how you roast them and the grinding and how we mix it all in, it can affect the flavor and change things. So it was just a long process, and I do want to bring that back. It was a good item.
Yes.
But I always like to change things up.
Okay.
So like a curry, I think we're probably the only South Asian place that has a butter curry that doesn't have any nuts.
No nuts.
Usually it's made with cashews blended into it, but we don't use any nuts. And you still get that creamy texture. It's a secret ingredient we put in. I don't want to say what it is, but it's nothing artificial. I'll tell you that.
Okay, got you. That's fair.
All natural. It's organic.
Very cool. Yeah. Okay, so your spice blend is very distinct, and who is that a family recipe? Where's that coming from?
Yeah, so a lot of our main recipes, like our marinades and our spices, they're all passed down generation to generation. From my mom's side, my wife's mom's side, old recipes that we've been working with, and we kind of throw a different twist on it. So we take our chicken tikka and we put it into different forms, like tacos, and we put it into wraps. We put it into we mix it with our curry, things like that.
Okay, I see.
Something that's familiar. Something that's familiar for people to get an experience, you know?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Well, the flavor really comes through. I noticed that the spice flavors were very punchy and pronounced in your food. When I had it. For people who are not so familiar with Pakistani food and the difference between, is there an easy way to describe the difference between like a Indian food? And I know Indian food is very diverse also, but is there something that makes it easy way to distinguish the cuisines?
So let me put it this way. So here in America, we have so many different regions.
Yes.
Like you take barbecue for example.
Yes.
The barbecue we have here in New Mexico with the red chili, green chili, you won't get that in other places. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's totally different than Texas barbecue or even barbecue you get in other states. And it's very similar to that. And so we have a lot of similar dishes. In fact, most people that are not familiar with exactly the different flavor profiles wouldn't really be able to tell the difference between Indian food, Pakistani food from Nepal, Bangladesh. Any region, each country actually even has like different ways to make an individual dish. Like a good example would be biryani. Okay, biryani is like a rice dish. It's served in Pakistan, India, Nepal, Bangladesh, all these different countries. But how you make it, if in Karachi, is totally different than how you make it in Hyderabad or how you make it in India or how you make it in South India, North India, West India, or it's totally different. Some people add raisins to their biryani. Some people put nuts in their biryani. Some people put different spices, and it's made with different meats. Some people do vegetarian ones or vegan ones with the chickpea, and some do with mutton or with lamb or beef.
Right.
Chicken.
Right. Okay. Thank you for that barbecue analogy. I've never heard anyone describe it like that. That's a really good way to understand, help Americans understand, right, the differences.
Yeah. And what we do is, and I don't want, a lot of our food is Pakistani. But there, on the back of my food truck, it says South Asian Street Fusion.
Yeah.
And that's something I just want to clarify because, some of our dishes, like makhni, you don't get in Pakistan. It's very hard to find it there. It's a Indian dish. It's from India, and they serve it also in England. So I think it's England's chicken tikka masala is the England dish of the country or something.
Yes.
And so we don't typically have it where I'm from, but we serve it on our food truck. We had this tandoori stir fry noodle. And that's actually a fusion of a dish from Nepal.
Really?
And it's kind of like we were using like a lo mein noodle, and made our own stir fry sauce based from soy sauce, and we basically took our chicken tikka and threw that on top of it and gave it a whole different profile.
Okay. I understand. Yeah, so you're really working with flavors from all over the South Asian region. Yeah. Tying it all together. That's awesome. And that really comes through. And what do you find really works with the local taste? What are the big sellers?
There's a few items. And, some days our chicken sandwich sells the most. And some days it's the curry bowl. Some days it's the burger. Yeah, so our chicken sandwich, we actually it's been a really big deal apparently. I don't know.
Yes.
We were in this thing with Yelp, and they were rating all the chicken sandwiches across Albuquerque, just from local vendors. So it quickly became a crowd favorite when we launched it. It was, so what we do differently though is we take our chicken tikka spices and we marinate the chicken with that.
Yes.
And it's marinated with yogurt and lemon juice and ginger garlic, and that's totally different than what a lot of these fried chicken places are doing.
Right.
Yeah, it's similar because it's a fried chicken,
Yes.
And we batter it in our own flour mix and buttermilk.
I see.
And it just gives it like a whole different crunch, a whole different flavor to it.
Yes.
So we stick it on a brioche bun, with our house-made Tikka sauce,
Mm.
which is kind of like aioli, and green leaf lettuce, fresh cut tomatoes, and sweet and spicy pickles.
Ah, yes. Yes.
Yeah, so that, and then I would say that another top seller would be our curry bowl. So that's our butter curry, and it's interesting because traditionally the curry is not served with green chili or avocado, but that's something we offer. We offer like an add-on. You can add on green chili to it, and what we do is we mix in the green chili with the curry because we make the curry on the spot. So we have our base there, and then we prepare it on the spot in the pan and for every order.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's why it's really hard to do that on a food truck, especially when it gets really busy.
Mm-hmm.
And things can get so hectic, which is why we do ask our guests. We tell them that hey, we do make everything from water from scratch. It does take a little bit longer.
Yes. Yes. Well, and
so people usually put green chili in their curry, and I never tried it like that before until one of our customers suggested it. Mm-hmm. And I was like, huh. So we tried it one day, and we're like, wow, this is really good.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, well, that's very exciting. That's how food evolves, Maybe in the future it'll be a staple dish, of sorts. Yep. But that's really cool. And for those of us who appreciate food, that little extra wait time, we understand that's completely worth it to have our food made to order like that, Mm-hmm. So that's really cool. I didn't realize you guys did that with your curry as well. Well, Chef Basit, I to be honest, I could probably just go on with questions forever. I do have to get to another appointment soon, but before I do, I want to make sure our listeners know how they can find you. Do you have a website?
Yeah, TikkaSpiceABQ.com.
Okay. Easy.
And then our schedule is on there. So just click the schedule link, and it'll take you to usually I put up the whole month. Mm-hmm. The other best way to find us is on Instagram and Facebook. We usually post on a daily basis where we're going to be.
Okay. Perfect. And that's just at Tikka Spice or something for your
at Tikka Spice ABQ.
Yeah. At Tikka Spice ABQ. Okay, all the way across.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Wonderful. Yeah. Well, honestly, I've been for me, food is good if I crave it, if I feel like I have to go back, And I've just been trying to find a time to catch you again for that sandwich, A part of me was like, oh, don't order the sandwich, order something more, authentic or whatever. But damn, that sandwich is good. The chicken. So
thank you.
Next time I can, I'll see you again for that.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for taking your time to talk to me.
Yes.
It's been an honor and a pleasure.
Oh, of course. Yes, it's very exciting the work you're doing. Thank you for what you're bringing to our community with that. And wish you and your family the very best.
Thank you so much.
Yes. All right. Well, have a great rest of your day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. So Chef Basit is doing really exciting food at Tikka Spice in Albuquerque. And, when you go to his truck, what you're getting are flavors that have been handed down through generations from one of the richest culinary cultures in the world, and that is the South Asian subcontinent. And when you taste the food, you can really taste that. It 100% comes through. There's just a wisdom to the flavor and the combination, but you're getting it on a chicken sandwich that's incredible, or a taco, or in a wrap. And it takes a moment, but it just works. It absolutely works, and you're like, why weren't we doing this all along? But the fact is, most of us couldn't do it, because that would take knowing the secrets of unlocking that flavor and all of the technique that goes into it. So, if you want to go that route, the best of luck to you. But in the meantime, I'd say stop by Tikka Spice and experience their culinary story and how it lives in this present day. I thank you all for listening to this, the second piece of our South Asian series. Hope that you will join us next time for the third and final piece, where we interview Chef Sanjay of Gayatri Kitchen in Santa Fe and his Ayurvedic cuisine that he is bringing to the community. Thank you all again for listening. Catch up with us at Southeast by Southwest on Instagram. Follow us on Spotify and Apple for more on this series. If you have any ideas of chefs, thinkers, or eaters who might have something to contribute on the subject of Asian food and New Mexico, please do send us a DM on Instagram, or you can email me southeastbysouthwest@gmail.com. Thank you, everyone, and have a wonderful day.